What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to my 2019 NASCAR Monster Energy Cup Series review. We're going to break this up into two parts. So we're first going to talk about the drivers, talk about the biggest disappointment, the best drivers of the year, and the biggest surprises in 2019. And then we're going to talk about the racing in general, talk about the package, and give you my opinion on the 2019 NASCAR Monster Energy Cup Series package. So first of all, let's talk about the best drivers to start. So for sure, there's a few candidates for the best drivers. You got Kyle Busch, Mark Truex Jr., Denny Hamlin, and Kevin Harvick, the final four. I think arguably those are the four best drivers. And then you have guys like Chase Elliott, Brad Keselowski, and Joey Logano that are just right below them. So between those four, who do I think was the best driver in 2019? Well, I am going to argue while people are going to say guys like Mark Truex Jr. and Denny Hamlin were better at times than Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch, I would say, is the best driver of 2019. Yes, a lot of you are going to argue and say, oh, why is Kyle Busch the best driver in 2019? Well, he won the championship, number one. He was the most consistent driver throughout the year. He led the point standings for a majority of the season, and he was also your regular season champion. So yeah, Kyle Busch, in my opinion, was the best driver of the year. Mark Truex Jr. cannot deny how good of a year he had. He had 7 wins, second best year statistically of his career, only 2017 beating that. And then Denny Hamlin having best year of his career in 9 seasons, winning 6 races. Can't deny how good of a year Denny Hamlin had. Kevin Harvick, he won 4 races. Can't deny how good a year he had. Chase Elliott scored 3 wins. Logano got 2. Brad got 3. But I think because of that consistency from Kyle, I think that's the real reason, in my opinion, that Kyle Busch is the best driver of 2019. And whether you like him or not, Kyle Busch is one of the greatest drivers in NASCAR history. I'm not the biggest fan of Kyle Busch, but I respect him as a driver and respect him as a person too, because of how great of a driver he truly is. Now let's get into the biggest underdogs for sure. So yeah, there's a few that are in candidates for this. So yeah, Matt DiBenedetto, Kurt Busch, definitely a guy I would, kind of surprised him with him as an underdog. I'm going to put him as an underdog. William Byron and Ryan Newman are the 4 drivers up for this one. So, who, in my opinion, is the biggest underdog of the season? I'm going to give this to Matt DiBenedetto. I know people are like, oh, you're not picking Kurt Busch, William Byron, or Ryan Newman. Those guys have better statistical years. And while, yes, they have better years than Matt DiBenedetto for sure, Matt DiBenedetto did incredible stuff in that 95 car that we've never seen before. I know he had the technical alliance with Joe Gibbs, which, by the way, it wasn't a true technical alliance because they never got all the good parts and all the older stuff that they got. They had to basically rely on their setups to get them where they are. They got fourth at Sonoma. They got a top 10 at Watkins Glen. They almost won Bristol. They were consistently in the second half of the year top 15 and top 20. I think they got a top 10 at Bristol, I'm pretty sure. They were in the top 20 in Martinsville. They are top 10 at the second Martinsville race. They were just incredible. And with him going over to Wood Brothers next year, I think that he is going to do a lot of good things at Wood Brothers. And I would not be shocked if he has a Ryan Blaney 2017 season when he goes to Wood Brothers in 2020. And let's get also into the other drivers and why. Let's talk about the other drivers. So William Byron, he came over, he got Chad Canales this year, rookie year, and really bad for William Byron. He was 23rd in the standings, could never close out races. This year, he almost made it to the round of 8. I think he finished, what they said, 10th in the standings, I'm pretty sure. He just had an incredible sophomore year. Everyone talks about how drivers have sophomore slumps, and we've seen it in all sports in general. Drivers always have sophomore slumps, and other team sports have slumps. William Byron did not have a slump. He had a big gain this year as a sophomore driver, and I think he impressed a lot of people in 2019. Ryan Newman, one of the most impressive. He would be my second choice for the underdog of 2019. Ryan Newman brought a car that was basically competing just stay inside the top 25 in the standings and brought that car to a 15-place points finish, brought it in the playoffs, and just was consistently getting top 15s, top 10s and top 20s every single race and impressed a lot of people in 2019. Kurt Busch, a lot of people were not expecting him to even be a contender at all. Probably just be an outside round of 12 contender. He should, in my opinion, got to the round of 8. Just how consistent he was and incredible performances he had. He got a win at Kentucky. He finished second multiple times at Michigan and Bristol. And I think other tracks he finished runner-up as well. Kurt Busch impressed a lot of fans in 2019, including myself. Now, I'm expecting a lot from him. One driver I forgot to mention is Chris Buescher. My God, Chris Buescher, another underdog candidate for the Underdog of the Year. He impressed a lot of people as well this year, including myself. He consistently ran a top 15 and top 20 every single race, got plenty of top 10s, and was one of the top 15 drivers in the second half of this year. And with him going to Roush, he's going to probably have a better year next year. I would not be surprised if he's an outside contender for the playoffs next year. He might, and I think he could have a shot at winning. And I'm dead-ass serious when I say that. I think he'd have a good-ass chance to win next year at Roush. Finally, we go to the final category, which is the biggest disappointments. There's two really big drivers. There's a few drivers that are really, for me, are disappointments. Daniel Suarez, Jimmy Johnson, Daniel Hemrick, and Ryan Preece. For me, the biggest disappointment of 2019 has got to be Daniel Suarez. Well, I'm not picking Jimmy Johnson. Well, Johnson kind of didn't have a great year last year and just kind of didn't do anything this year. Didn't do that great last year either. Daniel Suarez, for sure, probably the biggest disappointment of the year. I thought he would at least make it to the playoffs. Maybe win. Maybe make it to the playoffs. He didn't even do that. He didn't even make it to the playoffs this year. And when you're an SHR car, I know SHR equipment was down this year, but when you're an SHR car, you got to at least try to do the best you can and perform at the best of your abilities. And he clearly was not at the highest he could have been at. At the beginning of the year, he looked really good. Top 13, was like 13th consistently in the season. And then he just had a lot of bad runs. Some just bad timing, bad luck. Others just on his own. And he missed the playoffs this year. Granted, he was close to making it this year, but Daniel Suarez did not live up to the expectations. And that's one of the reasons why Cole Custer is going over to SHR next year and why Suarez got the boot. He might be going to Richard Childress next year or SHR's Xfinity program, but we'll figure out, or go fast, but we'll find out here sooner than later. The other drivers, why not put those guys in? Jimmy Johnson, like I said, he had a disappointing year, but he had a better year this year than last year on some statistical things. He just unfortunately didn't have enough to go out and perform and just was not anywhere near where he should be. But Jimmy Johnson might have a better year next year. I think he could be an outside playoff contender in 2020. With Cliff Daniels coming in, they were consistently starting to pick up pace and were starting to finish in the top 10 a lot more, and they were starting to lead laps too. Texas, one of the best performances they had in the second half of the season. Ryan Preece, I thought he maybe would have been as good as Buescher was, but he didn't do anything this year. He just kind of was like a 25th or worse driver this year. He was like 28th this season, I think. He just didn't have the performance 2019. And then Daniel Hemrick, I expected maybe him to do a little bit better than Austin Dillon. He didn't do anything this year. Unfortunately, Daniel Hemrick just was not a great driver in 2019. Yeah, he had times was better than his teammate and better than Ty Dillon and those guys. Sure. And he got I think he finished top 15 this weekend at Homestead. And later in the year, he got better. But I think he just needs another year in Xfinity to really show him his craft. And I think next year, he's going to get a little more experience. And maybe, just maybe, he'll be back in the Cup Series in a year or two. Maybe. You never know. He could be back in the Cup Series. And I don't have any issue with him going back and running down in the Xfinity Series and getting more experience. There's no problem with that. But I think he needs another year in Xfinity to really show how good of a driver he is. Because he's a great driver. He's a really consistent driver. I expected that consistency this year, and I just didn't get that out of him in 2019. But now we get into the racing part of this video. So, first of all, let's talk about the 2019 Aero Package. The 2019 Aero Package had its ups and downs. First of all, the 1.5 mile races and the super speedway races with this package were outstanding. They were incredible to watch. Talladega was incredible this year to watch. The Coca-Cola 600. Kansas. We can't forget about Kansas, right? The second Pocono race was really good this year. The Super Speedway race at Daytona and the second Talladega race were phenomenal to watch. Chicagoland was impressive. And there were many races this year that I thought were impressive with this package. But then there were also duds with this package in 2019. And that really goes to the 1 mile and below racetracks, the tracks that are a mile or less. ISM suffered this year. The second ISM race, the race we just had before Homestead, a very lackluster, a very lackluster race in 2019. Both Dover races were not very good in 2019. Martinsville suffered this year. Richmond suffered, and one of the biggest reasons is because that big ass spoiler, as Dale Jr. brought up, that those giant ass spoilers was one of the biggest reasons why it was just really bad at these short tracks. I think the short track racing was ruined by this package, in my opinion. I think in 2018, we always look forward to those races. Some people just weren't looking forward to short track races except Bristol because the racing at these tracks was not very good. And then there were just races in general that were just good whether or not the package was there or not. I thought the Southern 500 was pretty good. I thought there were great moments in the Southern 500. You had good restarts. There was battles. And then the finish was pretty good, in my opinion, between Kyle Busch and Eric Jones, when Eric Jones outlasted Kyle Busch. And then you had Bristol, both Bristol races. It doesn't matter what package you do with Bristol, because Bristol's always going to be a really good race. It really doesn't matter what you do, because the fall Bristol race is incredible. You had a lot of battles for the lead, a lot of lead changes. It was just an incredible there. And then you had races like the Roval, that it doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't really matter what you do because the Roval's always going to now be good, apparently. Because the second year of the race was just as good as the first one, if not better. And then we'll go to the road course and talk about those real quick. The road courses were not very good. I forgot to mention that those were not very good. Sonoma and Watkins Glen were not very good races. Was I happy that Martin and Chase won those races? Yes. But what happened was it sacrificed the racing in general, and there was not a lot of good racing in this year's road course races. And now let me give my opinion of the package in general. So, my opinion is I'm going to give this package a C. I'm going to give it a middle to spectrum C. 1.5 mile races and super speedways, really good. Those get an A. The racing on the short tracks, it's a D for me. Not very good on the short tracks and the road courses. It gets a D for me. There were moments on the short tracks and the road courses, yes, but there wasn't much battling or wasn't much passing. It just wasn't very good on those racetracks. 2 mile races weren't that great either, too, by the way. Michigan was not very good. That's just my opinion on that. And then we go to the final. Now we get my opinion of the 2019 season in general. I am going to give this season a B. A B this year. This year was, while it had very good moments, this year was not as good as 2011. It was not as good as 2014, and it was not as good as 2016. I think 2016 was better. I think the racing was better in 2016. The racing in 2014 was better, and the racing in 2011 was better. I think this is the best year for restarts. I don't think there's been a better year for restarts than 2019. I think the restarts 2019, this is the best year of the decade we had for that. And I think the racing overall was good. I thought it was good. But I think that 2016, 2014, 2011 were really good years too. This is the 4th best year of the decade, in my opinion. I think just because the reason of short track racing not being as good and the reason of the road course not being good, I think that's the reason for me that this is not as good of a year as 2016, 2014, or 2011. Anyway, those are my opinions of the 2019 season. Thank you guys for watching this NASCAR Monster Energy Cup Series year in review. I got a lot more stuff coming for you guys, more 2019 stuff, and also silly season news to talk to you guys about as we go into the off season. This is not it for 2019. We got a lot more videos coming to you guys. So anyway, I want to thank you guys for watching this video. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Turn notifications on so you can notify when a video does go live on my channel. Follow me on all my social medias, links in the description below, and comment below your opinions of the 2019 NASCAR season. What did you think of the season? Let me know below. Anyway, also, would you guys care to help me reach 75 subscribers on YouTube? I would really, really appreciate if you guys would do that for me. Anyway, I want to thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care, everybody.